So hello everyone and welcome to the fourth species or the fourth step of species counterpoint, and let's get started now. That was Jackie Wilson singing Baby Workout. The fourth species is a particular type of study in which we learn how to do suspensions, how to set them up and resolve them correctly. You can see that it involves half notes that are tied over the measure. And here's the first rule of our game. The second half note in every measure has to be a consonant interval. The first half note can also be consonant. So let's look at the second. These are all of the consonants that are in this one. But you can see that the second one of each measure is always consonant. We have sixths and we have thirds and fifths and unisons. We don't have any dissonances there. But we can allow dissonances on the strong beat or on the first beat of each measure. Suspensions always occur, they're strongly accented on the downbeats. So see all these sevens on the downbeat? Each one of them resolve into sixths. So they're all 7/6 suspensions. We can set up 7/6 suspensions like this, or we can set up 4/3 suspensions. Let me just play this and you can hear all of those suspensions happening. Whoops. Sorry, Jackie. Okay, so here we go. So we have a whole chain of 7/6 suspensions here in the second half, and we have a couple of them in a row here. And that's the goal of this species, is to try and set up and resolve as many of these suspensions as we can. Like the other species, we're going to start on perfect intervals and end on perfect intervals. So you'll see this one starts on a perfect fifth and ends with a perfect octave. Also, we have specific cadence formulas for the endings. Let me just play some of these. So the first one sounds like this. So it has a 7/6 suspension that resolves out to an octave. Here's another. Another 7/6 suspension resolving to an octave. Now, if you had a counterpoint, if you had a cantus firmus on the top, then you would use this other type of suspension, 2/3. And I believe we're just writing with cantus firmices, cantus firmi below. So we're just going to have 7/6 suspensions at our endings. Once again, one of the voices ends 2 going to a 1, right? Or 3, 2, 1 often, and the other ends up going do, ti, do. So this is a very common way of ending your exercise for all of the species. We noted also, or I noted, the 7/6 suspension here and the 2/3 if the counterpoint is written below the cantus firmus. Okay, so our goal in this species is to try to get as many suspensions as possible in each of our exercises. There are two types of suspensions we can use if we're writing above the cantus firmus. You can use a 7/6 suspension or a 4/3 suspension. So here we have a 7/6, here we have a 4/3. If you're writing your counterpoint below the cantus firmus, then the only type you can use is a 2/3 suspension. Now, here's how you would set these up. You need to look ahead and see what's going to work. So if you wanted to try a suspended seventh like we have here, we need to find the seventh, which is a C, and then see if that C is going to be consonant with your current note in the previous measure, because the preparation has to be a consonant preparation. So here I have E to C, which is a sixth. That is consonant. That sets up a dissonant seventh that then can resolve down to a consonant sixth. If a 7 didn't work, for example, if this 7 didn't work, we could try a 4. So fourth above here would be a G. If we held the G over from the previous measure, it would have been a third, right? So that's consonant. Then it would have become a dissonant fourth and resolve down to a third. And that's what's happened here. We held the fifth over, becomes a dissonant fourth, resolves down to a third. Now, if for some reason you could not set up a suspension, neither the 7 or the 4 could be prepared, then you can just tie a note over that's going to be consonant on the downbeat. You need to tie something over. If it can't be suspension, use something else that will be consonant with both the previous measure and the downbeat. Okay, that's it for this short little lesson, and there's a separate video that gives a demonstration as well of fourth species, and then there'll be a quiz that follows.